So this week on The Buzz, we have singer, songwriter, and I'm going to just go ahead and say prolific worshiper, Trinity Anderson. Thank you so much for being with us. How are you this evening?
I'm doing so good. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. I mean, we were catching up a little bit before. You mentioned, things were, a little bit cold where you were. So you want to just go ahead and, tell me, just refresh my mind a little bit.
Listen,
how cold was it again? And where are you?
it was only like 40 degrees, but I'm such a Floridian that anything less than like 60 is like freeze. Like Elsa is in town. I can't do it.
Oh my goodness. Listen, being in New York, we will happily trade your 40 for our negative whatever below. So,
I understand.
but to each his own. It's all about perspective. So I will value your perspective and your opinion. So there you go. So before we jump into it, now since you're in Florida, so you're a big beach person, you're a big water person.
Oh yes, I grew up on St. Petersburg Beach.
Okay.
So I'm like I'm a mermaid.
Okay. And
Yep.
and do you surf as well?
Oh no, not that quite. Not listen, I'm also dark skinned, so I don't quite know how to do that yet.
Okay, I'm just listen. I don't want to make any assumption.
No, good question. I love it.
Okay, good. So now as you're aware, because you were a part of it, our message of cheer campaign, we just felt, hey, with everything else that was going on, everyone have had, quite a year. So it doesn't matter if I was listening to Bishop TD Jakes, he preached a sermon about a month or so ago that says we're all in the same boat, right? So he's like, no matter if you're rich, you're poor, you're whatever the case is, if you're so beautiful that when you walk down the street, I think he said, people fall by your feet. It really didn't matter because we were all in the same boat. We were all toiling together. So in kind of keeping with that same feeling and that same mindset, I kind of felt like, hey, what can we do, to help with that, to promote some kind of cheer, to promote something. So we went ahead with the message of cheer. And two of the questions we were asking everyone was, what does Christmas mean to you? And if you can share, a cherished Christmas memory. So for anyone that might not have seen that, you want to go ahead and share that with them?
Yeah, absolutely. So Christmas to me is very plain and simple. Jesus is the reason for the season. And so when Jesus was born into the earth, hope was born here. And so for me, it's just all about remembering, the spirit of hope and the fact that, yes, there's joy and getting to be with friends and family. We got to remember that, Jesus came to earth, and because of him, we can have eternal life. And so that's the meaning of the season for me.
Yes. Makes sense.
Yeah.
And then what about a cherished Christmas memory that you mind sharing with us?
So I literally can't pinpoint like one thing, but I just remember growing up as a kid, we would always get together. We would sing songs before we get to open gifts. Then we would, take a nap and then get up and do it all over again. Then we would go over to my aunt's house, and there was more family, more gifts and presents, more food. And I just remember like always my uncles and my dad like arguing about who can make the best sweet potato pie. And so it was just the best. Like
it's always the sweet potato pie or the macaroni. Everyone feels that they're the best at one of those.
Yes.
Yes. Awesome.
But I love it.
That's funny. So now, in terms of again, still keeping with Christmas, what's your favorite Christmas movie? Like, what's one of those movies that's like your go-to? You're like, hey, Christmas time, I have to go rewatch this movie. Do you have one of those?
Well, the Preacher's Wife is always like
everyone says. Everyone go with that.
I mean, yes, love it. And let's see, what else is there? There's always like Home Alone. Like you have to
I was just gonna say that. Listen, my wife, she religiously puts up Home Alone 1, Home Alone 2. Like it's playing. It's like on repeat throughout the house. Okay.
Always.
I was waiting to see if you're gonna go with that. So that's good.
Yeah.
Now you tell us where you're currently serving at Deeper Church, correct?
Yeah, Deeper Fellowship Church here in Orlando, Florida. Pastor William McDowell is the lead pastor, and we're only about 7 or 8 years old. I think
Mhm.
7, going on 8 this Easter. And yeah, God is just moving in this church. I'm so grateful to be a part. I've been here the whole time since before
So
we got it.
tell us about that. Like, how did you, met the
Yeah.
ministry, kind of got involved, started worship? Like, what's the backstory there?
Yeah, so I actually was at a different ministry here in Orlando, another huge church, and I was just kind of searching, for more in my heart, but not saying too much about it.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
Pastor William actually came to minister at the church I was at, and the way he tells the story is that we were, in conversation, real short in passing. He had like a product table that night, and I came by and said, "Hey," and he says that he literally asked, what are you up to these days? And I said, "Oh, nothing too much. Just waiting for you to start a church." And then he was like, "That's all you waiting on? Well, we already started." And literally there was like probably 15 people, maybe 14. I think I'm the 15th.
Hmm.
And they were already meeting on Sundays after, regular service time. And I started going, and shortly after, the Lord released me to, to be able to go. And I didn't even serve there first. I just relaxed and tried to rest,
Hmm.
um, when you're in a church ministry. And I was a co-worship leader at the other church. I was working at the church. I was serving the other pastor and everything. And you just have to wait for the timing of the Lord. So
Okay.
once
Yeah.
since the release, I was so grateful to get to transition, and I have not looked back since.
Awesome, awesome. And listen, and from what and for all that I've read and I've seen, William have also you pretty much adopted you as his
Oh yeah.
daughter as well too. So tell us a little bit about that dynamics.
Yeah, so he has a story about that as well, which is basically he was at a conference one time, and he knew of me. I think we had met in the previous, but we
Hmm.
weren't, super close or anything. He was at a conference with his wife, and he said the Lord literally spoke to him and said, "Hey, you know that girl Trinity in Orlando? I'm making you responsible for her." And so he
Wow.
literally leaned over to his wife and said, "Hey, you know that girl Trinity in Orlando?" And she was like, "Yeah." And he said, "The Lord told me that he is making me responsible for her." And so
Wow.
he didn't tell me that, like, he didn't call me up and
Hmm.
find me, track me down, or nothing like that. It's just time ran its course, and the Lord
Mm.
orchestrated so beautifully, that, yeah, we're here now. He actually needed a singer for an event. I think one of my first trips with him was to Chicago.
Hmm.
And, he asked me to come along. And it just, we just knew. We knew. And he was transitioning his team. And yeah, things have just lined up, by way of the will of the Lord.
But you see, that's I think that's when it's God and not man, right? Because whenever someone feels something, if they just go out, they try to do everything to make it happen, go beyond when the obstacles. Not saying obstacles wouldn't come, even when you're operating under the will of God. There's always trials and so forth. But whenever someone is pushing so hard to make something happen, and they're
Yeah.
doing it, that's one side. But when you just wait and you just watch God just kind of
Yeah.
unfold, it's almost like the way I like to think of it is that there's this blank canvas, right? And God is just going around, make a little stroke today, another stroke tomorrow, and someone can probably walk by, look, it's like you're watching an artist, like, what are you doing? You'll see in time,
Yeah.
another one, and another, then eventually we kind of buy into what it is. But from the minute this blank canvas just stands there, he knows exactly what the final painting is going to look like. He knows
Yeah.
everything. But we just don't know. We just see one or two strokes and we're like, that's nothing. Let me not
Right.
even pay
Trust
attention.
it. Gotta learn to
Yeah,
trust, man.
yes, indeed. So no, so you were fellowshipping somewhere else. You moved into there. You were fellowshipping there. So now, from a ministry now perspective, now when you're starting out to collaborate, because clearly you're no stranger to singing. You've appeared
No.
on several of our William McDowell's project. You've done
Mhm.
something with Travis Green. If I
Yeah.
just look you up on YouTube or Google you, I'm seeing all sorts of things. So all good things, all good things. So
Yes.
tell tell us about that transition now. Like how was that, or was that always the case along the way?
With Pastor William, just singing with him, or what do you mean?
No, when you started to sing with like Travis Green and and a
Ah,
few artists, so like how how was that?
yeah, no, it was great. So Pastor and Travis are very good friends.
Okay.
Christ, of course. And so for our conferences, we have this habitation conference at Deeper
Mm-hmm.
Fellowship every year. And so he's just one of our covenant brothers. And so he comes to the conference every year, pretty much every event Pastor holds. Travis is always invited. And so yeah, Travis just kind of asked, if I would sing with him, and Taylor and Denara is up there actually with Travis. And so
Yeah.
yeah, we just came together for that specific event, and I've traveled, a few times with Travis as well. Just
Yeah.
because we're literally family. We actually have the same birthday. It's amazing.
Oh wow! I did that. Oh, that's
you know,
funny.
it's so much fun, and he's just a real down to earth person. And yeah, Respond was just not even planned at all.
Mm,
How that
really? Okay.
Not at all. We were just supposed to be regularly singing, and then we actually recorded that song, that take, twice, and this was the
Hmm.
second take. And so the music director, he was in our inner system, and he literally said to Travis, like, while they were still kind of playing it, "Hey, get them to sing it, just so we'll have it." And then Travis was like, "Oh, hold up," and then he just started calling names, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, yeah, that was amazing. I was listening to that again just today, and I'm like, man, it just seems like such a flow to it. It was awesome.
It was
Definitely.
Yeah, but we've all, known each other for a while, so that chemistry was there.
Got it, got it. So I'm kind of still building up, trying to paint the picture. So now I'm at the place now where you've done all these different things, and now you said to yourself, hey, I think it might be time. I kind of branch out and and just do my first single. So at which point during that process did you start it, stop it, think about the idea? So take us into there.
Oh man, okay. So in all honesty, I have
Hmm.
been writing songs and been feeling like I've been ready for a long time. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because you just want to get something out, and there's
Hmm.
always the peer pressure. There's always just the comparison game that we play with
Yeah,
ourselves.
yeah.
And so I'm no stranger to getting to be able to record.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I decided, to just be obedient and wait. I wanted to put out something a long time ago, and Pastor William just felt like, no, you're not ready yet. Like, just wait. Just wait. The Lord is still doing something. And so just trusting him, being obedient,
Hmm.
allowing him to cover me as my pastor and spiritual father.
Yeah, yeah.
I trusted his judgment, and I didn't want to step out uncovered. Now that didn't mean that I didn't get to, minister at different events and lead worship or whatever.
Of course, yeah.
As far as releasing my own project, that was on hold. And so finally, Pastor William really he began to release me. And he just, I don't know, I guess the season changed. I mean, I felt, a growth in the spirit
Hmm.
as well, but it's really for him to say. And so he just kind of got up on the platform one day and just acknowledged it after we were leading worship one day, and just acknowledged, like, this is your time. You are ready. You have waited, and the
Wow.
Lord, marked you as ready. And so, about a year ago, I actually went and I wasn't even trying to release a song, wasn't trying to record necessarily. I was literally recording a YouTube video, like
Hmm.
seriously, just for YouTube, on my couch in the house. And I had recorded it, had a friend come over and play the keys. I had
Hmm.
a professional photographer come, or videographer come, take care of everything. We recorded it, and then Pastor loved it so much that he was just like, "No, we need to do this as a single." And I was just like, "What?"
Wow.
A Christmas song, you know what I mean? But he was like, "No, no, no, this is amazing. You need to do this as a single. Like, I wanna make sure, like, I want to help you do this as a single." So that's really how we got here. It wasn't my intent necessarily. Of course, I was ready, but I've
Hmm.
been holding back a lot on just putting out music, because I feel like a lot of people just kind of put stuff out because they want to just jump in, and or
Yeah,
people
yeah.
are pressuring them and rushing them, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I'm just
Hmm.
like, if the Lord ain't said something to me yet, and I'm not writing something that's worth something, really, you know what I mean, that's relevant to the season,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to put it out. So
I hear you.
yeah.
Well, listen.
Yeah.
So now this this song that that you waited and you put out. Tell everyone what's the name of this single.
Yeah, so this is Grown Up Christmas List. And I didn't
Okay,
even
that's a first of all, that's an interesting name all by itself. But go ahead, I'm not gonna interrupt you. Go ahead.
no, no,
So,
no. You're fine. Yeah, no. It's not even my song. I am not the writer. It's a Christmas classic, but it's one of those like kept secrets. You know what I mean? Like
mm-hmm.
I feel like that's not the go-to song that everybody goes to sing every year. But when I was younger, probably around 16 or 17, I heard the song and I just was like, this is nuts. You know what I mean?
Wow.
The lyrical content so deep and just so relevant in any time.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are now in the middle of Corona,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
this is more relevant than it has ever been. And so, yeah, grown up
Yeah,
Christmas.
yes. Grown Up Christmas List. Listen, guys, if you might have heard it before or not, you need to go look for Trinity Anderson, look for Grown Up Christmas List, and trust me, you
Yeah.
will not be disappointed. I'm just saying, because we were listening to it back and forth. My wife was listening to it. She came by. She's like, "Oh, is that the performance video?" Which, by the way, amazing job. The performance
Thank
video.
you.
Talk to us about that.
I love my church. We actually got to do a Christmas production kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was another song that I had, my best friend, and we wrote it for her to sing. It's a classical piece. And then I got the opportunity to do Grown Up Christmas List. And so they bought me this like beautiful microphone, like one of the kind of vintage microphones you see
Uh-huh.
like Etta James singing on. And so I was just so honored. And yeah, they programmed the lights and all the good stuff. And, I got to sing it. And, our church isn't meeting right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're not meeting in person. We're meeting
Online,
virtually.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I literally was able to just sing to the cameras and sing to Jesus. And yeah, and we were able to capture that moment. And yeah, I'm very grateful for what we got to do.
Definitely. And I was just listening and going back to it and going back to it, and it's just such an amazing song. Such, it's done. It was done well. It was done, and you definitely, you can tell whenever someone totally owns a song. Like, you were like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm not gonna just sing it how I thought. Someone else might have sang it, but just completely put your own take in it, and just
Yeah.
it was an amazing song. So no, so there's the song, but then there's also to the store. So I'm seeing behind you there, I'm seeing pray like
Yeah.
your life depends on it. So by the way, amazing product placement, by the way. I must say, amazing. So tell me about that.
Thank you so much. Man, this is another God thing. Like I actually had nothing to do with it. I was in a time, I was engaged once, and the Lord just said this wasn't it. And so I was kind of going through that, but still having to get up and lead worship
Yeah,
every
yeah.
Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
And so we would just with everything we had inside of us, we would go and pray, of course, before, and we would lead this worship. I would lead a full team, and I just had just a unique perspective. When you're on the platform, you kind of get to see everything from up there. You get to see like just the people who are so hungry. Then you get to see the people who don't even want to be at church. You get to see the kids in the back that's like eating snacks and leaving crumbs everywhere. Like you just see it all. But I was just so inspired being able to see those lives
Mm-hmm.
literally counting, like desperately needing Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And so this statement, actually the very first statement was lead worship like lives depend on it.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Mm-hmm. I
that
saw
came,
that. Mm-hmm.
yeah, from me literally having to lead worship without, focusing on me, which of course you never focus on yourself during worship,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes when you're in your mood or whatever, it can affect it if you allow it to. But you just know to always leave that in the hands of the Lord. Leave yourself, off the stage and let God be glorified through your life. And so
Right,
that
right.
was a an app on my phone where I just tried to like make a graphic, and it was only for me. It was only a screensaver at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And then since I was teaching private voice lessons at the time, I
Okay.
wanted to make an incentive to give my students. So I was going to put lead worship like lives depend on it on a coffee mug, and give it to my students when they, pass the next level. Well, I went into a print shop and they were trying to charge me like $500, $10 a coffee mug. And like you had to get a minimum of 50. And I didn't have money like that. You know what I mean?
Like, what are you doing 50 bucks?
I'm not balling like that. So I literally left discouraged, and I was like, well, I guess maybe maybe I missed it. Maybe it was just for me or whatever. And a few weeks later, I walked into a print shop here in Orlando, actually in Sanford, Florida. And literally I walked in there with a logo and I said, well, how much does it cost to put this on a t-shirt? Because they had, t-shirts in the store. And so I said, how much does it cost? And they said $20 and it'll take, an hour. I think they said you can go shopping in the mall and then come back and, pick it up. And when I came back, my little heart just dropped on the ground because I just knew that it was not for me, that the Lord wanted me to release that in the earth. And I was like, oh boy. And so the day I did, I already had a website. I kind of knew how that worked and knew how to put it store. So, I was grateful for that, but I didn't have any other kind of like help with the process, So I was able to just put it up, and literally people, friends and Instagram followers and stuff, they were just like so hype about it that like the first batch of orders was like 70 orders, like it was nuts. And that was all one phrase. And literally from releasing that, then the intercessors at my church were like, well, we want one that says pray. And then the dancers. And then, we want one that says dance. And the band, well, we want play. You know what I mean? And it just spiraled and spiraled.
Nice. And that's where you get the Life Depends on It collection, basically. Yeah. Yep. I was checking it out. I was like, you know what? And I'm like, I like the color gray, but I also like that maroon color. So I'm like, it's either I get both, because I have to, figure out which one. But definitely, I will be placing my order as well too. That's it's an amazing phrase, and it's just, and that's the thing about purpose, right? Because again, going back to whenever and it's the same thing too. Like even when we started with Gospel Music Buzz. About 4 or so years ago, I was just there, trying to figure out, and then it kept coming back, hey, you should do this, because, I was always, go to other platforms, because again, my wife is also in ministry as well. She released some singles and such, and her album, Yanetta Dessa, and I would constantly go to different, media outlets and promoters and different things like that when we were working, to bring visibility to her project. And then it came to me, I was like, you know what? I feel like I can do this and I need to be doing this, but it's like I keep stopping myself. And then when the name came to me, I was like, there's no way that name will be available. I checked the domain online. It's available. I was like, okay, let's go with it. And after that, there's so many people have asked me about the name. I'm like, literally, the name just came to me like this. I looked it up online. The domain was available. I purchased it 4 years ago, and then, just kept running with the vision ever since. So trust me, I can, like, I'm listening to your story and I'm hearing it 100%. Like, and it's just one of those things when it's happening, like, it's just there. You just gotta, you get that feeling and you just kind of know. So with that, now tell me about the Deeper Collective. So from what I'm looking at, I noticed it's a Deeper Collective. You were the first artist that was launched out from the Deeper Collective. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Deeper Collective it's really a production company. It's something that Pastor William wanted. He's had it on his heart so long to do, which is just, he has an amazing heart that just wants to pour into the next generation. Yes. I love that. I'm so grateful to get to be a recipient of that. He actually graduated, with a degree in music business, went to full school in Orlando. So he knows his stuff. And so that is just great for a person like me who, I just sing. I'm a PK, and, we just sing for Jesus, and, are not always worried about the business side, but I'm so grateful to have somebody that covers me in that. So Deeper Collective is just a compilation of, artists that are young and, on fire for the Lord. And he's using his resources and his partner in crime, which is Clay Bogan. He's an incredible producer. Produces all this stuff. to really just give us an extra set of hands and some shoulders to stand on, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
I'm so grateful.
So that's what the Deeper Collective is. Awesome,
Hmm.
awesome. Yeah, I met William once actually. I met him
Oh,
in New York. We interviewed him. If you check YouTube, there's an old interview there where we interviewed him. It might have been about maybe 2 years ago
oh, wow.
when he released his last project. So
Okay.
yeah, so we interviewed him. You know, amazing. You know, humility. Like I mean, for someone that have achieved so much, you know,
Yeah.
just sitting there and talking with him and like really hearing his heart. I'm like, man, this man is just all about ministry.
He loves
Like
the Lord.
it's yes,
He's a
yes.
real one.
If indeed he is indeed a real one for sure when it comes to that. And I was like, wow, okay, so yeah, I'm like I'm co-signing everything that you're saying right now because I know firsthand for sure.
I love it.
Listen, man. So before we even let you go, I just have to say it again. Grown Up Christmas List, guys. You have to go and get this single,
Yeah.
listen to it, check out the store, check out the merch because I mean, if you like good, listen, I'm all about if you're gonna invest into
Mm-hmm.
something and if I'm gonna wear something, I want it to have a message behind it. I
Me
wanted
too.
to have something I wanted to know, like, hey, you know, I heard someone said once when you purchase from a small business, the person does a happy dance. And basically, it's like, you know, it's making such a direct impact to the person's ministry and their vision and their purpose. And to know, like, you know, hey, you're partnering with that person, even by buying one shirt or by purchasing a
Hmm.
single or something like that. That's a
Yeah.
powerful sense of, you know, of support and community. So definitely, guys, check it out, go with
Yeah.
that. Now, where can the people find you, Trinity? Tell us where can they
So
find you?
the quickest way is just IamTrinityAnderson.com.
Okay.
But you can find me on pretty much any social media at Ms. Miz Trinity. And so I like to be social with
So
people, and yeah, I'm usually one
so
of those.
are you on Clubhouse? I'm hearing all
Oh
the cool kids are talking
no,
about Clubhouse.
that's the new age thing. I've not quite jumped on that yet, nor the TikToks, and I'm on Snapchat Trinity
Okay.
underscore, but
Got
I barely be on that. But Instagram,
got
Twitter,
it. Got it.
uh, that's where I live, and
Listen.
Pinterest.
And Pinterest, yes, we got to love. I'm always pinning something.
Yes, for all the inspiration.
Exactly. Listen, thank you so much. You know, I know it's like 2 days before Christmas. You're
Yeah,
probably swamped. You're doing a lot right now, but we definitely appreciate you coming on, talking
no,
to us, sharing your heart with us. And listen, man, definitely. I know
no,
there's going to be a whole lot more we're going to be seeing from you in 2021. So, you know, as you
yeah.
start releasing and doing a whole bunch, you know, just remember us over here to come back and
Oh,
talk to us again.
you'll be the
Just
first one.
remember us.
I promise. I promise.
All right.
I'm
Thank
so
you so
grateful.
much
Thank
again.
you so
Have a Merry
much.
Christmas. And, you know,
You
it
as
was amazing speaking with
Merry
you.
Christmas. Thanks.
Thank you.